Arian, bring us up to speed for people who may not have yet heard of this story, which has been breaking over the last few days, or at least gaining more attention in the public's eye. Bring us up to speed on what has happened and who the characters are, and then we will go right into this law.
Sure. Well, this stems from an incident on February 26th in the evening. A young, unarmed teenager, Trayvon Martin, who was 17 years old, was killed, shot to death by George Zimmerman, a 28-year-old neighborhood watch captain. Zimmerman claimed that he was acting in self-defense, and so Sanford police, this occurred in the city of Sanford, they declined to arrest him or charge him with any crimes. And so there's been growing outrage over the fact that this gentleman, Mr. Zimmerman, remains free. And possibly as a result of this growing attention and coming under the spotlight, there are now numerous investigations that have been announced in the last couple of days. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement is looking into it. The state attorney in Seminole County has said he's convening a grand jury on April 10th to consider the case. And then the Justice Department and the FBI announced late on Monday that they as well would be investigating it.
Okay, we were just looking a moment ago at pictures of 28-year-old George Zimmerman. Now, obviously, he was a neighborhood watch captain. He was armed. The boy who was killed, he was not armed as far as we know. Tell us about this law called Stand Your Ground and how it plays into George Zimmerman's defense at this point.
Right. Well, Stand Your Ground was a law that was passed in Florida in 2005. It's a quite controversial law. At the time it was passed, there was a lot of opposition from police chiefs and from prosecutors who felt that it was going to create this sort of Wild West atmosphere. What the law did was it expanded the ability of people to respond to dangerous situations when they feel they're endangered with deadly force if necessary. Prior to that, the requirement was that unless you were in your home, if you confronted a dangerous situation, you had an obligation to retreat. The law removed that obligation, and so it allows people to essentially stand their ground and respond to the threat of bodily harm with a gun, with a knife, with deadly force. And so. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, and so the big question mark here, it seems, remains, was George Zimmerman threatened before he pulled the trigger? Now, the young man who died, he was on the phone, Trayvon Martin, with his girlfriend at the time. What do we know from what she heard? What has she testified about that?
Right. The facts of how this altercation actually took place and who initiated it and who approached whom is going to be key to seeing whether this law applies. The attorney for the family of Trayvon Martin yesterday released new statements that were made by Trayvon Martin's girlfriend, who said she was on the phone with him as this altercation was culminating. And what she said is that Trayvon said that there was somebody that was following him. And he was concerned about it, and the girlfriend said, well, you should run. And he said, no, I'm just going to walk fast. And then she heard some exchanges, a voice in the distance saying, what are you doing here? And she also heard Trayvon saying, why are you following me? And so that would seem to suggest that Zimmerman was pursuing him and perhaps was initiating this conflict, this exchange that they had. So, and another thing that would possibly back that up is that the 911 dispatcher that Zimmerman spoke to had asked him, are you following him? And he said, yeah. And the dispatcher said, well, we don't need you to do that. And it's unclear, whether he heeded that admonition or not. So these facts obviously are going to be pored over and analyzed, but they're going to be critical to determining whether Zimmerman can rely on that stand your ground law as a defense.